Welcome to the Part 5 Golden Wind Spoilercast for the Jojo anime. We're doing things a little different today.
A little bit. I'm Sam, by the way.
And I'm Jim.
And yeah, this is kind of like, if you haven't listened to our Part 5 in pieces...
Part 5 in parts. God damn it, it's called Part 5 in parts.
You can do whatever you want. We didn't have people vote on it.
we had suggestions that said we should keep it Part 5 in parts.
If you listen to those, you would know that running gag.
Yeah. But Sam is constantly fucking torturing me.
Do I do it on purpose? Do I do it by accident? Who knows? I'll let you decide. But yeah, so we also had a spoiler cat for the manga, but this is going to be more like what are the sorts of the anime versions of these arcs in the anime.
Yeah. So I think what we're going to do, we kind of chatted about it a little briefly. We're going to do a kind of what I want to start off with is do like a general impressions, which probably will take, I think it might be a little decent discussion. Then we can kind of quickly go through each arc and then just give anything that we missed. Because there's a lot of little things that David Production both left out and also added that I think are pretty interesting to say. It's definitely worth mentioning. Yeah,
and basically we're kind of going to grade them like not as good as it was, just as good, or as good as it could have been as it was, and better.
Yeah.
So, which if you need more like that middle ground, we'll probably get there.
So I think let's just start off like generally. What did you think of David Productions' Jojo Part 5 adaptation?
I think it was very good. Very, very good adaptation, especially since, going into Part 5 wasn't probably nearly that good. I think my opinions of, Part 5 where I really like the part itself, but, I'm still not a fan of Giorno too much.
Mm-hmm.
And my opinion still goes from that. But I still liked all the fights and everything was really well done. And the moments that were in, the best moments of Part 5 were in there. And done exceptionally well. Especially did a good job with King Crimson, which is that one thing that people always, how does it work? Now he made it pretty simple showing how it works.
It's always hard to judge how newer viewers are taking it, but I didn't see nearly as much of the how does King Crimson work sort of meme. Because it felt like people just understood it a little better now.
Yeah, having a visual of it. I think when I read it, I'm not sure the translation was completely redone, but the explanation of King Crimson was just that preview page, and it was just a full line of text trying to explain it. It's like
they started to explain it one way and they gave up, so they tried to redo it, and it's just
it's the equivalent of the graph that someone posted of the Part 6
Oh, well, that's official.
I know that's official, but just trying to follow stuff in your head in the manga. But the anime clearly showed that they knew what people going into, especially it's going to be shown to people all over the world, so we could make it as clear as possible.
If anyone is confused or about what Sam's talking about, I think this is what I'm not even sure. I think that it was before or around the Dragon's Dream arc, but there's one
it's Manhattan. The sniper.
No, it was really? Later, yeah, because it referenced characters later. But there's this horribly confusing flowchart that doesn't work like a flowchart. Maybe I'll try and find it. It's really needlessly confusing. But whatever. I do kind of want to keep our focus onto Part 5.
Yeah.
So from now on, we're just going to probably talk about mostly within part.
Yeah.
So.
What's about you? What's your general opinion?
So I would say it's probably favorable. I do think it was good. For me, there's some hiccups in it. I wouldn't say that it's flawless. Yeah. Because I think the Jojo in general has there's always some sort of growing pains and stuff.
Yeah.
I know that there's a lot of people that really, really love Part 5.
I mean, at a stamp, I had very high ups and some big turds.
Yeah. I don't know, and
CGI is always gonna bother me, and there's a high amount of CGI compared to other parts in JoJo.
So yeah, that's the one thing I do want to mention first. I think the visuals in Part 5 fall flat in quite a few areas. So in Part 4, when they adapted that, they really sort of took to heart that JoJo is supposed to kind of be in a world where colors can there is no canon colors for anything. So of course it makes sense for we're gonna have Jotaro wear the same color all the time. But they played around with like background colors.
Color
the sky
shifts.
was interesting. The color shifts felt a little more like natural because the whole like standard palette was so strange.
And the town was very variety colored. The sky was like that.
The sky is like normally like orangish, I think.
But this one, they're kind of CGIing a lot of buildings and cars and everything.
I think
especially when you go through like Venice and everything.
Yeah, I remember the first episode. When I watched the first episode, I had kind of a feeling of a little minor disappointment when I saw that it was the bright blue sky. And I was like, one of the things I really loved about part 4 was the weird color choices and like the purple trees and all that stuff.
I think it probably, I don't know, if Italy, they want to have it look like...
It does, yeah, that's one of those things, like, I understand why they did it, because compared to part 4, which is kind of like a fictionalized version of Araki's hometown, the locations in part 5, it's almost impossible to find a chapter where they aren't in, like, a real place that was taken from inspiration from Araki visiting.
Yeah, one thing I was worried about when I watched this was, I saw CG cars, I was like, oh no, there's a lot of fights that take place like in car or moving vehicles, and I'm just like, I really hope it didn't suffer. And they're only really suffering the one that, like, which we'll get to, it really disappointed me because I loved the fight in the manga. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, but okay, so I didn't even mention it. The CG is for me a big issue as well, because part of what I love, and this is like something I feel about the same way for other manga to anime adaptations, and it's not just Jojo, but like when there is CG cars and CG elements, especially part 5 was doing it a lot. It felt like there were just CG background elements that didn't move.
Like we said, when Venice, like the buildings seemed to be CG and everything.
Yeah, even some of the parts in Naples in the beginning, and to me it looks so not like how I imagined Jojo to look.
Yeah,
for me, like, Jojo has such a distinct look, and when I see these like weird ass CG gloms, like these stupid like cookie cutter cars, and I understand, like I know that it's hard to do anime production, and then having CGI cars saves the fucking it saves money and it saves time, but to me it doesn't feel like Jojo.
You get the people who do the first 3 OP CGs. Just get them to do everything.
Yeah, that's the one exception, though. I forget the studio that does those. Those are incredible.
It's fucking amazing.
It was the first...
First 4. Because the 2 part 3s and then 1 and 2.
It's funny because a lot of the part 2 one is not done that way. There's only some...
it's a good mix.
Yeah. The part 2 OP is awesome. Alright, speaking of which, let's talk about the OPs.
I like Fighting Gold, and I like Trader's Requiem, or Requiem of Trader.
Yeah, I think, it's called Trader's Requiem. I thought they were both pretty good.
I think I prefer the second one over the first one. A lot of foreshadowing in the first one.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting how so one thing that really, we're just gonna jump around a lot, I guess. They showed the actual scenes for a lot of the parts of the OP in Trader's Requiem.
Yeah, they show the scene up.
The scene when in the OP, so okay, the final OP gets 3, I guess you'd call it 4 different versions. So we've got the standard one.
Yes.
We have the sound effect one.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Well, with the King Crimson effect, and then the fighting or Gold Experience Requiem effect.
Yeah, and then there's like FX one, and I think the other one does the FX with like they kind of combine them. Like they add like new things.
I think what happened was for the last episode, half of it wasn't sound effects, and then the half where Gold Experience Requiem happens, and then it's sound effects again. If I recall correctly. But so with those, so the scene where King Crimson activates, where the ground shatters.
Yeah, and he speaks in Italian.
Yeah, and he speaks in Italian. That scene, like the specific cut of the ground shattering was just from the episode, as well with the scenes that we see the epilogue, where Mista and Giorno are hanging out in his new crib as he's being sworn in as the King Mafioso. The part where the man's kissing Giorno's hand. And so I thought that's like the first time I think we've seen in a JoJo OP just the same exact imagery used. Yeah. But it kind of made sense.
I still love the visual, just like it's like a still from the fight, and then it just goes into moving into the next scene. I thought that was really cool. But don't forget about Fighting Gold. This literally has like, the Rolling Stone in there, and then they showed like all the characters and their stands, like everyone that died. Like it was a still image, and everyone that lives is like a moving image.
Yeah, they do it twice. They do it twice actually,
and the characters in order as well too.
Fighting Gold. When Fighting Gold first happened, I was so excited because I was. This is the first JoJo part that I am watching weekly.
Yeah, and it's also the OP done by the guys who did Part 2's OP.
Yes.
Lakota. And it was fucking... And, got a lot of hype from that, because Bloody Stream was, everybody's favorite OP.
Mm-hmm. And so for me, I really like the visuals. I like the silhouetting of the characters. And what you mentioned with... they have the one scene where, all the characters that aren't moving during their character shots, they're the ones that die. The characters who... and then near the very end, it shows all the characters looking at each other.
Yeah.
And the characters on the left side of the screen are Abakio, Narancia, and Bruno.
Yeah.
And then the characters on the right side of the screen are the ones that don't die. You could go fucking watch the Medi video or the X-Force video if you really wanted to know all the differences. I just thought it would be fun to go through some of the ones I liked.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. The Rolling Stone, that was a really cool reference. I didn't even notice that until
it's like the
JoJo's almost over.
It's like the Bruno Rolling Stone too.
Yeah, someone literally noticed that or put it on Twitter at least
they had
after that OP was done.
There is that side business of YouTube where people will literally just go frame by frame of the JoJo OP to find every little detail. It's been done for the first 3 parts and the 4th part a little bit with Great Days especially and
funny.
Noisy Bizarre Town.
It is really fun to do that, and I actually did that today by accident. I was watching the Dr. Stone OP, and there's one scene. I'm a big fan of Dr. Stone, the manga, and there's one scene in the OP that I didn't even notice, and it was like, oh wow, they just totally showed a whole thing. And I was like, that's pretty cool.
So
one of the cooler moments.
I'm sure. I believe you. I'll get there when I get there. So, do you want to start talking about these parts then?
I'm trying to think. Was there anything else? I think let's keep talking a little generally first.
Okay.
Overall, music. I think
I love Giorno's theme.
Giorno's theme and Diavolo's theme are 2 of my favorites.
Yeah.
2 of the standouts.
The meme of just Giorno on his piano, playing.
I really thought that the music was I really was impressed compared to the other parts where the music that I remember is the band reference names and the OPs.
Well, I always remember the dun 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 dun.
That's
dun,
true.
Dun, dun, I think that's Jotaro's.
Jotaro's theme, yeah. Which that's impossible not to immediately think of. Is awesome.
But, music. I love that music and the. I just remember, and I think the character designs, the actual visual style they went with, because part 4 was a lot more. I guess not as hard on with the visual part 3.
Well, initially part 4 is there's been a lot of people
occasional close-ups.
Yeah, there's been a lot of people who've posted various comparisons of Araki style changing within part, and it's if you haven't seen what part 3 or sorry. It's pretty much part 3.
Yeah, early part 4 looks like
part 3. It looks like part 3,
and even part 1 with some how big.
Looks a little better than part 1.
I mean, how big their faces are.
Yeah, early part 4 Josuke looks weird. He looks so sinister, and especially there's a few shots. One of his first appearances, he looks like a villain, and it's before Rocky started to draw his eyes rounded.
It's a picture of Okuyatsu looking like an evil man, and then just him at the end just being a goofy idiot.
Yeah, it's funny how part 5 became the time where Araki fully embraced his sort of hyper slim. Feminized characters.
They don't need to be bodybuilders. They can be these slim down, fashionable. Rohan was the early example of his new art style, just being these slim down, weird fashion kind of.
And it's funny because when David Production decide to adapt, they generally pick. Obviously, it makes sense for them to pick the one consistent style, and they normally pick the later versions of the part. So the part 4 Josuke that we get in the anime looks a lot more like how he does later. So for me, when I look at the part 5 anime, I'm just kind of making this connection now. It makes me think more of part 6.
Yeah.
In a weird way. I get... I especially see the way that he does Jolene's facial features. I see that in a lot of the characters.
I agree. The only thing about, I guess he also did, weird-looking villains, but that was only, really pesky in this part.
A lot of the random civilians are horrifying goblin creatures.
Civilians have always been goblin creatures. I think, more some, the villains of the week, Pesci is weird-looking, and... he's probably the biggest example, but part 6, they're
Pesci and Carne. Yeah. Carne is one of the other.
Yeah.
Which it feels like we even get more Carne in the anime. We get because we get to see him in motion. So.
And then in part 6, where you get like they're also like troll people or disgusting like monster looking people for the most part that are like the female prison members.
Yes.
Like the
lawyer,
the old man for the Dragon Dream is like a weird like Chinese caricature, goblin creature.
He looks even more normal compared to some of the other people though.
The son of the Dio fashion, but the Bohemian Rhapsody guy is just like his head is like
that guy looks like a fucking weird gremlin boy. But yes, it's funny how and so so this is another kind of like elephant in the room I kind of want to bring up. I do think that the characters can look kind of awkward with their proportions and the shading. I think that sometimes it looks really good, and other times the shading and proportions of the anime characters work against them.
That weird time we saw Mista taking like his shirt almost off.
It's in like the last episode. Yeah, Mista takes his shirt up. He pulls his shirt up, and his abs are so long. It's kind of like body horror.
Remember when we actually got to see like Fugo take his shirt off? That part.
That was really funny. That's hilarious. I've had a thought about Fugo. I don't know if we ever get to see his pants, but do you think he has holes over his butt cheeks?
His boxers are probably like assless chaps.
Yeah, probably. No, I mean all part 5 guys probably wear thongs, right?
No, we were Rocky. Probably had a note like he wears boxer briefs,
with a little angry faces on them.
Versace boxer brief or something like that with holes in it.
Oh my god, could you imagine underwear with the holes in it?
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be so fucking funny.
You have to read Purple Haze feedback for that. Sorry. So, alright, anything else you want in general opinions other than...
So we talked about character design. I want to talk about animation.
I think there are still, like, I mean, part 4 had that as well, where you get these, like, weird, like, background shots that just, like, not really animated, and they're always hilarious, but they've been there in part 4 as well. And I think some things are really well animated, and just some parts kind of fall flat compared, but... Yeah,
I think that this is kind of like the thing with JoJo is that it's also kind of a stereotype. People are always like, oh yeah, JoJo's about the posing. There's no real animation. There are some like legitimately great cuts of animation. Of course, it's always few and far between. Like, but there's some like
certain fights that they put way more work into. Like I think like Grateful Dead and Beach Boy, they put like so much love into that. That one. The
Grateful Dead Beach Boy had a lot of the part where they like fight at the end was really cool.
Like everything with Bruno's zippers and King Crimson is usually really well done. Like even the bullets like with Sex Pistols and everything is always fun. But it's not it's not like he's gonna be like Babyface where they're not gonna put that much love into that or even B.I.G. they put a lot of like good like love into that, and that's like where we get to that where stuff I fucking love more than the manga.
Yeah, B.I.G. for sure. We'll talk about how that was improved by being an anime.
David Preston really wanted to show Trish's ass crack.
They do.
They really did.
They do a lot.
Every possible chance they could got.
I think that there's some really good. So this is something that I think I might bring up a few times, but. The one thing that I think is really important to consider when watching JoJo is David Production adapts almost panel to panel a lot of the time. They
didn't bring Trish's hair, her original hairstyle, though.
Yeah, there's certain things that they change for, like, convenience. Like, obviously, it would have been really annoying to have her in a completely different outfit for, like, 3 seconds and then never see that outfit again. But I think that there are certain fights where it doesn't translate into anime as well. I think, the Little Feet fight, to me, I thought those episodes were weaker because the movement in that space felt strange.
Also, everybody wanted that to be over with just so they can get to the torture dance.
Wait, no, that was before the torture dance.
Was that before?
That was after the torture dance.
I'm thinking of crap. There's like so many stands that just involve stabbing.
That's true. Yeah, what's his face?
It's Little Feet and
Little Feet.
Kraftwerk.
It's Kraftwerk and this is the one I always forget.
Exactly.
Wow. I'm a true JoJo fan, guys. No, but
Soft Machine.
Soft Machine. There we go. I knew it was something that had to do with the stand's ability.
They have a lot of shanking stands.
Yeah, I think
before they even got to the prison.
That's true. But yeah, I think that that there are certain fights that and a White Album's going to be the other one. I think that following the manga identically hurts the pacing of the fight itself.
Yeah. Where some things where like it drawn out the fight so it could build suspense because it worked like for B.I.G. where like it was a stand that's like a movement one where you have to like be very slow.
Yes.
And it worked great, especially the animation. You get to see how Spice Girl works because of the animation.
Yeah, and it also has all the benefits when you're watching something being made, like when you're watching film where you've got sound, you've got timing, you've got music. Like there's so many things that really just help the suspense of that fight.
To voices, were there any voices? Were you cool with everybody's voice actor?
So initially, I probably wouldn't have said too much, but the end episode where they all swap bodies, I have to give mad props to the voice actors because they were so good at impersonating each other.
It was very good. Like I think with Giorno as Narancia as Giorno, and I thought it was Giorno talking.
It was so and I know it's like literally their job to be able to do voices, but it's not that they're doing another character, it's that they're doing another actor doing that character. It's so crazy. When the guy that does Deku, who plays Narancia, him doing Narancia and then Giorno speaking with Narancia's voice,
Giorno sounding like young
crazy.
And naive.
Yeah. There's this really incredible clip. I think it was one of the Simpsons guys that said it, where he explains that there's the guy, I forget the guy's name, the guy that voiced Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck and everything.
Yeah.
There's a clip of him, or there's an old cartoon of
where he's just like flipping voices, like he's doing all the characters.
No, not well. Technically, yes, but what he does is it's a sketch where Daffy is dressed up like Bugs, and Bugs is dressed up like Daffy. So what he's doing, it's one guy who does both characters. So he does a Bugs impression, so Daffy Duck doing an impression of Bugs Bunny, and then vice versa, but they sound completely different. Because and then the one Simpsons voice actor was saying, like, when I've tried to do this, it just sounds like I'm mixing the two characters together. But he's able to do two distinct impressions.
He's got to do the Daffy, like the lisp, and like then Bugs with like a high pitched kind of voice to it.
So I find it so impressive for a voice actor to be able to do that.
My only voice,
like they did in Part 5.
My only voice complaint was that the wannabe was not as good as the Eyes of Heaven wannabe.
I really liked the wannabe from this.
It's good, but it's not the Eyes of Heaven wannabe. Someone had a video of like all the wannabes from the PS2 game up to the anime, and I love it goes to the wannabe, the really high pitched scream. I love that so much.
It's very funny, but to me, like, I don't know, it doesn't feel like Trish.
It's not Trish technically, because Spice Girl has her own voice.
But Trish says it.
I know Trish said it, but still, I still love the freaking high pitch. I don't know. It always felt like because when you go to a punch barrage, you kind of need that that energy, and that always had the most energy.
It is very hype, I have to say. But I
am a huge Trish stan, so
Sam is the biggest fan of Trish there is. I am the biggest Fugo fan.
No,
just kidding. No one is.
No, people who read People's feedback are
dorks.
So should we get anything else you want to talk about?
I think that's really it. I'm glad you said voice acting because I would have forgotten about that. Overall, yeah.
Kamina voicing Diavolo.
Oh, fuck. Was that really Kamina?
I believe so, yes. Because Kamina's voice actor.
And it's really funny because the most we hear Diavolo speak is when it's Bruno inside his body.
Yeah, that and
I guess King Crimson, right? Yeah. He does speak through King Crimson.
And King Crimson is essentially Diavolo, especially when he's freaking out, telling Bruno, think about this, give me the arrow.
Speaking of good animation cuts, pretty much most of the time that King Crimson was on screen.
Because he is, like, especially when Bruno encounters him the first time, it's literally like King Crimson is the one being animated, not the boss.
Yeah.
Like, he is a character in this. I think I said this before in like one of our old episodes where I say just how much of a character King Crimson is in this.
Yeah, it's funny how like we don't really see Diavolo do much except die. Like the most that we see Diavolo, him when he's actually himself, all he really does is just die.
Yeah.
So we don't see him. Yeah, rip and roast Doppio, even though Doppio is actually a sociopath too.
Yes.
So I guess let's kind of dive in and we can touch upon some of the things that the anime's added.
I have it listed up. So basically the first arc of Giorno encountering Koichi for the first time, and then in him versus Bruno. That's like the first arc.
Yeah.
And Leaky Eye Luca, but who cares? It's not Leaky Eye Luca.
So okay,
I am the shovel as a stand.
I think it's really funny. There's we'll just do a couple.
I'm surprised they did Araki forgot about the whole
the gold experience reflecting
because it's a little bit overpowered.
So yeah, that's another thing. So this isn't an issue with Part 5, the anime. It's just like,
and this is the reason why when I don't like Giorno, because of his stupid nonsensical abilities that he has.
Yeah, Giorno has some of the most ass-pulley moments, and this is from someone that is like, I am personally a big fan of Part 5. Giorno's not my favorite.
He is one of my least favorite. He might be one of my least favorite JoJo's. I've said it before in other stuff. Yeah. He's one of my least favorite JoJo's.
So, okay, I want to address this now because I think it's kind of relevant. So I watched, last episode, or we did the Part 5 parts, whatever, and I was talking about how much I didn't like Sleeping Slave that much, and some of our commenters were like, hey, check out that Oceans video. He did a 1 hour, 10-minute long video about Goldwind, why it's his favorite part, or perfect part, whatever. And he goes into how what he really takes from Giorno's character is that Giorno is a mixture of Dio and Jonathan.
Yeah, I know that's supposed to be the thing with him. He is Dio, but with the Joestar pride, Joestar
he has the reserve. He has a reserve and humility of Jonathan, whereas his sinister, more aggressive side comes out occasionally. But it's something that he reserves. I think the issue with people not liking
monster like his brothers. His half brothers.
Yeah, well, we don't talk. They don't exist.
We don't talk about them.
I don't know what you're talking about. So with Giorno, I think one of the issues is that he's so subtle. His character is so incredibly subtle, and in a series like JoJo, where everything is think about Jonathan. Or sorry, Joseph. Think about the kind of person that Joseph is. Everything he does is boisterous and 10 out of 10. He's always fucking on all engines go.
And he's thinking ahead.
Yeah.
More than anything.
But Giorno is so reserved and he's more introspective. And he doesn't, especially early on, the whole part of him going to the gang is I don't want to show any weakness. I want to earn these guys' trust. So
he will throw himself in front of threats for his allies, as Jonathan did as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. So I can see how people like that. Just to me, it always comes off as very Giorno's not doing too much. Yeah. Or when he does something, it does feel a little ass-pulley.
Because he'd be I have you made me figure out a new ability, or I don't have his ability anymore. Or...
I do really like when he fights Babyface and Babyface teaches him how to use a new ability. I think that's one of the most clever parts of Part 5. But Babyface is kind of stupid.
Well, this whole early part, because with also, not only does the stuff he creates can reflect. Remember, Luca hits the frog and it reflects.
It reflects onto him. Yeah.
He also has the punches, where I guess you can assume that's what happens when he punches people, but that never really comes up as a visual.
Yeah, it's something that they put so much effort or emphasis in, of how he fills things with life energy.
But even the Bruno versus Giorno fight, Bruno has that weird power where he can just essentially possess people as well.
Yeah, he kind of just...
That Kakuin has, but then never does again.
Yeah, it is a little too, it seems like he has way too much control over the guy's body when it should just be him...
hiding in there.
Yeah, hiding inside his body.
But, don't forget... Although, the one thing about Giorno, I think his backstory is good. I think he has in this arc. I think
it's fantastic that he's a son of Dio.
I also love his hair just turning blonde at some point. There's some point he said, "Oh yeah, his hair just turned blonde."
But I thought he dyed it.
No, I'm pretty sure at one point, his hair just turned blonde. I think it seemed like.
I think people have been like, "Oh, it's when his stand awoken," or no, I think the idea is it's supposed to be "Oh, Dio is inside of him."
When he got his resolve.
That is an actual thing that does happen though. People's hair colors do change over time. It actually there is science.
But they go from pitch black hair to
pure blonde.
Bleach blonde. This Italian Japanese boy, just English, I guess, as well.
He's English. He's Italian. He's what isn't he? He's Egyptian. I think wasn't he technically born in Egypt? Or his mom?
No, his mom got pregnant in Egypt.
Okay, so there's a little Egypt in him.
But yeah, so that. It's great seeing Koichi again. I love they have because Araki loves Koichi.
And also Jotaro too.
I'm glad he wasn't creepy OVA Koichi.
The part that's closer to like the part 7, part 8 style
But
Koichi.
he's freaking. They're not nearly as terrifying.
The issue is it's like that reinterpretation of him in that style.
Yeah,
it really creepy.
So, and then you see in Jojo, they had the part where he, hit really but we don't get that moment where he looks at a picture like we got at the end of Black Sabbath, but we'll get to that. But I really do love the fight. I think it's just as good as I remember it with Bruno versus Giorno.
It's really cool. It has some really fun like scene changes, and
he had the lick, of course.
Of course, the lick. How could anyone
just as good
forget the lick?
And I think that's, if I rank that, as just as good as I remember it. Nah.
Yes. I guess I would say the same. To me, one of the things that hurts is just that really dumb, terrible, the tram car they're in is just complete CG.
Yeah, the vehicles are going to be CG.
And it just sucks.
So, I guess go into...
when did Bruno stop his ability where he could taste liars? I want to know...
Stop licking people. People don't get close enough for him to lick. By the time...
They all know to keep distance from him.
Yes. Everybody knows the first thing about Bruno is that he can taste. His tongue is also a stand that can taste the.
Yeah, he has a
taste the liar.
Crash, or talking head rather. Sorry.
So then we should go into Polpo.
Giorno's like his getting his initiation arc.
Yeah, his Black Sabbath, which I love. I think I love this one.
Yeah, this one I thought was really good. I think
better than I remember.
The benefit of having color and having animation was really cool because you could see like the shadows growing larger as time passes.
And there's suspense thing, especially with like him hiding the shadows.
Yeah, that whole scene where he initially goes to attack, but because Giorno is out of the shadow and Black Sabbath just kind of like toes the line, like he just walks on the shadow like calmly. I thought that was incredibly cool.
And Polpo just in movement is like amazing.
Yes. Polpo, I love that they kept him
being a bed.
Yeah, him transforming because his name is Polpo, which is octopus in Italian. So it's supposed to be like how octopus can blend in with their environment. And then Polpo can do it too.
So he becomes a bed.
Yeah. One of the things I really enjoy, this is kind of like just an extra thing about part 5, is that Polpo is like in prison, but the system is so fucked up that it's like safer for him to be in prison because he just gets anything he wants.
And the fascinating thing, because you do learn that he uses the arrow to find if initiates have a stand potential and then can be accepted. So when he got the arrow hit for himself, so that means what's it called? He got a stand, but it was made to use the arrow because he hit the arrow on him as well, and it comes out of his mouth. So it's like a weird that his stand was to initiate people with the arrow. That he got.
I wonder if. So yeah, that's so interesting to me because we have the idea of obviously the mafia knows what stands are because that's how they like are initiating people that way.
And he's also
so it's interesting to give them stands, like to give him an arrow that his stand uses. I think that's pretty neat.
And he also understands that can just remove souls. That's what he does. He removes your soul and stabs your soul with an arrow. They don't look, you have an arrow wound on you. You died of a heart attack.
So it's I guess closest to part 3's what's his face? Darby's. The Darby's where they have the ability to just rip your soul out.
It just sucks it out and then stabs it. But not like remember part 4 when what's it called? He had the arrow and then he shot Koichi, but then he was gonna die, but then Joe can get his heal because that just negates the effect of like having. So Crazy Diamond can cure that the disease that it gives you, and then dying. So you think about it, Crazy Diamond can fix that because this is before
disease. This is technically before we know the stand arrow gives you a alien disease that awakens your resolve. I guess we could say that maybe his resolve or his stand was awoken, but he just died in the process. What if the whole thing was that
he survived and he got an egg, and then he eventually I guess he was able to.
What if the
get that resolved?
What if all the reason was that people kept dying was because they kept shooting the arrows in like their throat and face? As long as you just prick your finger at the arrow, it works.
Polpo can't tell Black Sabbath what to do. Really, he can just tell him they have an objective and he does it.
It's a long range automatic.
Yeah, he doesn't affect them. So
it's an interesting one because it's long range automatic, and we know that Polpo has no awareness of it.
Also, it has like disgusting stand saliva on it when he spits it out.
I think it is really funny that Polpo isn't aware, because I know there's a couple. I'm trying to remember. Does Highway Star? Does the user know that Highway Star is activated, or does I
think he puts it to an area and then he sticks it on them to get their nutrients. So he kind of just like he'll know it's working when he gets the nutrients back.
Yeah, but I don't think he was aware of
who he was getting.
Yeah, so I guess that there is a precedent for that, but it's kind of interesting.
The stands that are just those remote ones, or they just kind of put it there. Even Rolling Stones, he doesn't like really control it.
That's like a special case.
Looking for the people that see it. Really,
it's almost like he's not even a stand user.
So
even though I guess we're supposed to assume that he is.
So we rate this as probably better than what I remember, or better than
probably. I think early on in this part, the quality of the anime was better. I think that's kind of a tendency where it's like, as things go on a little more, it's like, oh, they've had less time to work on this, or maybe they wanted to leave a good first impression.
Yeah.
But it's just looking at some of the scenes, comparing the scenes from this to the ones in the manga, like the lighting adds so much, because part of the whole fight is like where the sun is in the sky, where the shadows.
You get in sundown, so you have like the whole color shift and everything in this.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, I didn't when I read it, it wasn't fully in color.
Sad.
So next up, is it meeting the gang and then going to Soft Machine. So I think the introduction of the gang, where you kind of get their basics. I think Naranja's a lot dumber in the early part
than he actually is. Well,
he's a lot dumber in the first half than he is in the second half.
I think that's part of his character growth, but I also think that like he's dumb in like a academic way, in like a book smart way, but he's a little smarter in a street smart kind of way.
Biggest dirt face, like in the early part, where he's just like
he is just he's like a general idiot, but he wouldn't have been able to survive.
Even old man Naranja is like just as stupid,
maybe worse.
Which is like.
But no, you have to think about the kind of person he is, though. Like when we go into his backstory,
we have Fugo stabbing him in the face as well, which is like a little much.
Well, we know Fugo's a bit of a rageaholic,
but still.
But just think about. Oh no, the other thing that we get added to, I don't know if they explicitly said it in the anime, in the manga, but in the anime it's revealed that Fugo has like a 140 IQ.
It's too smart.
So could you imagine? That'd be like you trying to teach the alphabet to a baby, and the baby gets like B and C mixed up. You would want to probably throw a fork in that baby's face.
Sure. And then he also gave us the piss in the teapot.
Hilarious.
Got Bruno being the best.
It would have been great if they just showed Abakia's dick.
Sure.
Just like the camera just centers it.
Just the fact that he just like literally put the pot in public, just like putting it down there. Someone probably glanced over and saw it, but they don't want to fuck
because they would get killed by him.
Yeah, but we tell you how great of a man Bruno is to the community.
Is that the most cruel scene, a cruel thing that Abakio does? I think that's like the most. It might be one of the most cruel things any like Jobro does to another Jobro.
Do you wait? What do we count as Jobro in part 8?
I don't know. We're not talking about older parts, Sam.
Because the part 8 Jobros do pretty cruel things to one another.
Well, I wouldn't consider some of them Jobros, but whatever. Let's just try and stick.
I consider Planet Prey some pretty cool things. So yeah, we get Bruno being the saint, but then we go into the first real villain of the week arcs. Like not really Hitman team, but going into like Soft Machine, which...
Soft Machine... So the first fight, I guess we could call it Soft Machine vs. Moody Blues, even though it's not really a fight.
Everybody gets shagged and deflated until Brink gets able to figure it out.
This one is kind of more of a puzzle, which just makes it interesting. So here's where I'm going to start being a little negative. Like, the the big reveal. Do you remember the big reveal of the fight?
Yeah, it's like their ship is the other ship like deflated and wrapped on top of the other ship.
Yeah, there's another ship hidden within inside
It's stupid.
the other ship, and the way that it's communicated to us in the anime is so confusing that if you weren't paying attention, if you blinked for 1 second, you would have missed the scene where the two ships split and they never showed the ships again. I think that was confusingly handled. I also think it was weird how they painted it as to being what's his name, Zukuro? Yeah, Zukuro. They painted Zukuro as being a fly for a lot of it. Like, it's like a Bakio versus a fly.
Because he talks to him, and the fly is the one that's like, we're showing the dialogue coming at it.
Because they're using...
It's Giorno.
Yeah, because Giorno made the fly to use as, like, where he is, so the fly is just hovering around. But it's being interpreted as him talking through the fly, and it's really awkward and kind of stupid.
It is very dumb. Well, lucky that one's kind of over pretty quick, just so they can get to the torture dance.
That's true, which everyone was excited for.
With their own cover of Pussy Control.
Yeah, so I can't remember what they called it. They gave it a name, but so the torture dance, to most people's surprise, was turned into like a music video.
Good. It was
awesome.
Even better than the manga had.
Yeah, because the manga was just like...
It was like 3 or 4 panels.
I think it was literally 3 panels.
And even the game made it like very quick. They didn't know like, what is this dance in reality, but they actually did the full dance, which keeping each moment.
Yeah, it's funny how they interpret it in the games, because the games have it like just them kind of in that pose, rocking back and forth.
They do,
but with this, it's like poses they're jumping like through in a series of dance moves.
I just love it. You just see like Naruto start doing it, then Mista just coming over, and then Fuga looking over it, and it's like this giant like zoom in.
Yeah, shot the fucking zoom in of them and like them lit by the sun behind their back is so it's so awesome and funny.
It was funny is that like him and Kraftwerk both survive. There's in the Purple Haze feedback, which is hilarious.
Well, yeah, well they're canonically not killed, so
they get the mercy because they didn't get beaten by Giorno.
But Kraftwerk is like lobotomized. That's my problem. Sal, whatever you call him. He's literally lobotomized.
Mista got shot the same way.
But he had a stand that prevented them from, like, remember number 5 stop them all? Yes, he did.
No, maybe Giorno
we do know.
went to made him a new brain because that's how it works.
Wait, that's before he had that ability though.
But he came back. Zukuro came over and just said, "Can you heal him? Like, we will gladly follow you." Just give him a new brain.
It's like the JoJo characters in general have the Marvel vs. Capcom type of healing where if you take a lot of damage and jump away and you're not in a scene for a while, you just regain all of your health and like all your big wounds are just completely
when you're
filled.
off screen heal.
But if you take a lot of damage on screen and then you die, then you're dead for good.
You get KO'd.
Yeah, you get...
If you're tired or like... or just the giant KO from Scott Pilgrim comes up, you're fucked. So, I say it's just the same quality as I remember it.
Of the Soft Machine?
Yeah.
I think it was probably...
A little bit worse on the worst side.
That's the thing. So, the fight... Well, I would say is worse, but
just as good or just as bad as I remember.
But the dance is like so good.
But that's not part. I'm considered part of the fight.
I was looking at like that as the whole arc.
No, that's the best part of the arc is the torture dance, which is made better.
I think that they could have done more things to make this. Say David Production was like, how can we improve on the source material, which they do in certain times.
Yeah.
I think they could have changed this fight. I think they could have not done the stupid fly thing. That was weird.
It was.
And confusing. I think that if they had animated more scenes of inside the pipes, it would have been maybe a little more visually interesting, but I don't know. I'm not a fucking animator.
So, let's just go into the next one, which is Sail.
Kraftwerk. So this is one of, like, I think my favorite stands. When I was reading part 5, I thought it was so interesting how he used it. Like the scene when he throws a bunch of rocks and then like rock climbs.
I love that. The shot's still pretty good in the anime.
It looked a little awkward, but the big elephant in the room, fucking truck was a lot of CG.
Yeah. But you have the trend of Mista shooting himself repeatedly.
Mm-hmm. I do have to say, okay, so the first time we see Sex Pistols, great.
Sex
Loved
Pistols
it.
is great. Yes,
Wonderful.
That was a great introduction of him like, being shot into the window and hitting him in the heel.
Yes, the fuck this window scene. Everyone's favorite manga panel edit.
Sure.
You ever seen that where it's the part where he's about to shoot him?
Just,
fuck this window, and he shoots the window.
And we get the weird Mista quirk, number 4, and him randomly pulling out a dinner table to feed him his stand.
Oh yeah, I love this is something that we see maybe like twice.
I think
the entire manga or anime rather.
Yeah, the character and stand stuff with Mista is great. It's just, the CG of the truck kind of takes away a lot.
Even like compared to the CG of the Sex Pistols, like bullets. The bullets themselves are CG, or they have this kind of like wiggle effect, and that looks like fine. Yeah, I think
I do love like the visual of him tapping the bullet.
Yeah, I
think that's really good.
That is really cool, except we did talk about this before, and we did debunk how it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
That he's stopped the momentum of the bullet, but they're still on a moving truck that is going forward at 60 miles per hour. This is the kind of thing. Sometimes with JoJo, I hate to sound like this, but sometimes with JoJo, you just have to not think about it too hard. Just don't think about things too hard. Just take them at face value. Take the themes at face value. Because if you really dissect some of the stand abilities, they kind of fall apart in your face.
I mean, Mista also must have had the thing where like he was so lucky no bullet hit him in the flashback, and he just gets shot by a million times. Like it's so funny. Like he has a whole character of just being lucky and not being hit by bullets, and he just like gets shot like 40 plus times by his own gun.
Hilarious.
In the head.
Was it actually 40? Because I was listening back to something we said earlier, one of the first episodes we did, and I don't know why I was
every time
but we guessed like 40. So if it was actually 40, I would be I can't imagine it being that many.
How many times Mista has shot himself? There we go.
Well, the White Album fight is going to do like most of the heavy pulling for this.
Let's thank God someone makes post to this. Hate browser. Alright. They have pictures for every hit. Alright, in total, Mista has been shown to be injured 38 times in all of Part 5. Out of these 35 were caused by his own bullets and gunfire. That would be 92% of all his injuries. I created a photo album so you guys can see for yourself. So we have like links to every image of it as well.
Now this is the kind of JoJo fan that I appreciate.
This is the real science.
Yeah. So that I do think that is hilarious.
I would have guessed like 50, but yeah.
I can't believe we were so close. Because I think I had guessed before like 40 or that he was going to be 40. Whatever. Absolutely hilarious that he hurts himself that much.
The running gag. So, Kraftwerk, do you read it just as good, just as bad, worse, or better?
I think I liked the manga better. Because I think I don't know. I think the pacing of the fight's a little strange, and I'm a big manga fan in general, and I always think that manga pacing is. I don't know. There's like a suspension of disbelief when you're reading a manga. You don't think about the actual real time seconds because it takes you a different amount of time to read than like everyone else. But when you're watching something, everything's at the same pace. Yeah. So it feels weird. I do really like the design of Kraftwerk. Yeah. It's a really fun design.
What was it? There was one standard. The color scheme wasn't. Was it?
I think it might have been Kraftwerk.
Was it Kraftwerk? I remember the color scheme was like different than the usual one. And it didn't work as well. I thought.
Yeah. What was he? Green and purple.
Yeah, he was like green, where I thought blue was like his original. Yeah. The original colored manga. So. Yeah, I think I agree with you with your thoughts on it. So, I guess we go back to them getting Trish and then Aerosmith. The first Aerosmith fight with gets Little Feet, which
another one I think I've already said. Oh, okay, yeah. So I'm looking. Sorry. So the initial when they did the colored manga of JoJo, they gave him a white with kind of a blue accent.
I love that color scheme.
But yeah, in the anime they made him green.
Maybe because they thought it was too similar to Sticky Fingers or something.
Maybe it was probably done for.
I still looks so much better than the green.
Yeah, the green just looks a little strange.
It does. It looks like if that was like the ultimate color in like a color shift.
Yeah, and it's funny when they do the color shift, he turns like an orange.
Yeah.
One last thing I want to say about this. I really love I think the anime does get a good thing with like the pacing of the fight. Because the idea of him like tapping it is really fun.
Yeah. So I go, we get Trish, and then we got the Little Feet, which I like Little Feet because it's like two idiots fighting each other, and I love that.
It kind of is that way.
They're our first Hitman team.
And this is one of the first major changes that we got in the anime, which was brand new flashback scenes.
Yeah, the Hitman team
of
the
execution team.
Are the second set of characters in this, because we get their backstory, we get the whole thing of them fighting about sorbet and gelato. Yeah,
we have an extended scene where we see their murder when it's explicit. This is something that is made explicit that wasn't initially, was that the murderers are Chocolata and Secco, which I thought was kind of brilliant.
I love that. Yeah,
it was a brilliant way to incorporate characters and to make the part more cohesive, because it just feels like it just connects everything together. Yeah, in a very sensical way. Of course, Diavolo would have his most fucked up guys do the most fucked up thing.
Enemies he has members that he hates and views them as disgusting monsters, which is amazing. I love that.
Also, the scene where they're placing the body. So what they do? They slice him perfectly, and they put him in bakelite, I think,
something like that. And they line him up in
horror. This is some of the most disgusting imagery I've ever seen in JoJo, because you see
a lot of
the
gore
teeth.
In this.
They really do. For some reason, they didn't hold back on the gore.
Now, part 4 is blacked it out.
Yeah, well, they do. It's funny because they do black it out a few times. They black out when Giorno spits out the fingers of Likia Luca. For some reason, they blacked that out, and then they blacked out really later on, the big fight. There was 1 sec. It was way later on. They black out 1 second of a fight. It's strange.
Funny about part 4 where it's uncensored. The dub is uncensored, but when Kira goes, "What can I say? I had a boner," they bleep boner.
Did they really?
They bleep boner on TV, but they showed gore,
that's because that's Adult Swim, right?
Yeah, Tsunami.
That is so fucking.
And they showed the gore where it was blacked out when we saw it on Crunchyroll.
So this is kind of a tangent, but there's obviously there's 7 words that you're not allowed to say on TV, but then there's this entire gray area of boner and I'm sure there's a lot of other weird words that wouldn't be approved.
They have Adult Swim shows that just talk that have about these subjects, and
But I wonder if they've ever said boner. I wonder if the term boner's ever been said.
I'm not sure.
I'm so interested in that now. I'm gonna do a fucking deep dive.
Wesker, the guy who does Wesker voice, does the voice of Kira in part
I've
4.
heard some of it. It's pretty good.
So yeah,
it's a little too hammy, I think.
Well, JoJo is pretty hammy.
That's true.
So okay, back to Little Feet. So what do you think of Little Feet? I love.
I sort of said it earlier where I think it's fine, but there's certain jumps in location that are a little weird. Just based on I don't know, it's they missed one transition scene sort of thing.
Him trying to I love him going different places, shrinking more and more, so he's having a harder time.
There are certain scenes that are incredible, the part when he's trying to pay for a phone call.
I like when he's getting stuck inside the automatic door because he weighs too light.
That's that. Those things are really, really fun.
It's a fun fight, and it's just him being in his pocket is one of my favorite images too.
It is really fucking funny. Oh, we didn't really mention it. But the scene where they. We see what's his face? What's the guy who's Little Feet stand user? His name begins with a G or something.
Give me one.
It's the one that I can never remember. We see him use the Little Feet in the flashback in a way that we've never seen before.
Formaggio.
There we go. Cheese.
Yes.
We see him use
fromage. Yeah.
We see him put a tiny car inside of a drink and then it expanded.
I love that.
And that is such it's fun use of his weird stilly power.
Yeah, it was the flashback you're seeing why he's on the Hitman team.
Yeah.
Where other ones you can clearly tell how they are.
Yes.
On there. So
to me it's so satisfying to have these flashback scenes because
also he crushes the guy's wife as well because it comes out of it. He screams and crushes her.
Oh, that's so scary.
Great.
That is such a horrifying idea, a car expanding with inside of you. Oh, I can't even imagine.
I love it. But yeah.
It is really fun.
I think they made those flashbacks made this arc better.
Yeah.
And I love that. And I like this fight of just two idiots and these weird, like, especially when you get animals involved. Like, it makes Naruto fight a spider.
That part's really funny.
It's just, like, there's so many, like, fun little things because they have for a shrinking stand. It's not the first shrinking stand in JoJo. Not the last. Yeah, it's not the last.
But the one thing that I always think of with this fight is the part near the very end where they... Like, Narancia has exploded the whole...
Yeah, all the cars.
Town. And they have that one scene where it's like...
A standoff?
Yeah, it's like a standoff. They're like, oh, who's going to draw first? And he's like, my stand is quicker, and blah, blah, blah.
But he's also, like, bleeding, heavily injured as well. Because he's, like, half burnt.
I think... Also, I have to say, I love the design of Little Feet. I think the stand design himself is great.
I think... There's a JoJo, author note about how he really liked drawing stands with teeth.
Yeah, you can tell. This part in particular, especially, like, this part, these two stands all have, like, teeth.
Yes. So, I think this is better than with the manga with the added flashbacks. Like,
the flashbacks do a lot. So, okay, I don't know if I would say, like, down the line they're all better. All the parts are better. But the flashbacks add... such a needed element of, like...
You get Maloney being a creep, like
villain.
Kind of, like, really weird towards women. You get, like, Pesci being just, like, having panic attacks.
Because, so, if we look at, like, the anime itself... Or, sorry, if we look at... I'm going to keep doing that this entire time. If we look at just the manga and how they handled the villains... And how they handled the villains in the manga... It didn't really feel like there was too much order... And then we don't have the main villain until way later.
Yeah.
So by creating this sort of, like, order, we already have all of our bad guys working together. We have defined villains that we know that we will encounter.
And you have these other group of villains that are working towards wanting to defeat the main villain that Giorno and Bruno want to take out as well, which is really fascinating.
Yeah.
Especially, like, since they both want to kind of take out the same thing, but one wants to take over the drug trade. And one wants to, like, get rid of it.
Even though they have a similar goal, they're given an instant reason to fight this guy and fight them because
also they're almost all bad people.
Yeah, because they're all awful.
They're all disgusting people,
and they want to kill Trish really bad.
No, they want to just kidnap her so they can use her as leverage against the boss, even though the boss doesn't care.
Yeah. Well, the issue is that she might know his identity.
Yeah,
that's the real reason why he's concerned.
So.
And I think it was really smart for them for David Production to give them more character outside of their... Because really, you only see these characters...
in their arc.
Yeah, almost exclusively. There's little scenes where they're, like, texting or whatever, or you see, like, the silhouetted list, or silhouetted, group shot.
There's the one thing, like, when everybody gets, like, a message on the laptop, and you get a kind of a...
Yeah.
People who are anime only thought Pesci was just a potted plant because he only saw his hair. His face was conveniently blocked off, so people thought it was a plant.
That's fucking hilarious. I also just love seeing more Risotto. It's really weird because in the anime, we see Risotto so early, where in the manga, we don't see him until he dies.
He finds the picture. They show him finding the picture and getting that so they can look at it.
I love Risotto so much.
He is
what an awesome character.
He was like that made me. I remember because I worked when I read through JoJo. I got out like on the edge of my seat, like really happy because like no one was bothering me at work. So should we talk about the next arc then?
Yes.
Man in the Mirror, which is an arc I did not care about in the manga.
And how did you feel about?
I still didn't care, but I thought the one thing that I really liked was Purple Hates' new design they did for him.
Yeah, so they did give a bit of a redesign.
Yeah, it's like a cape.
Yeah, I think that was that and like. General just giving him things to do in animation looks really cool.
Him like freaking out. I love the weird character of Purple Haze.
So yeah, for me the kind of gimmick of this fight is that it is about learning Fugo's whole thing.
There's no world in the mirrors, Jim. Just like how there's no dream world or
that's my issue is of the stand. Like Man in the Mirror is kind of one of the dumbest stands. Yeah. It's kind of one of the most overpowered stands.
It also has this, like, one of the real things, just the crew being dumb, where something weird is happening to one of the members and just not reacting to it and not being suspicious when they've been attacked by hitmen. Or like
I think from a writing standpoint, it was clever because part of the challenge is separating Fugo from his stand and then his stand going berserk.
Yeah.
And I think it's fun, but at the same time, I kind of don't really dislike this fight very much. It's just kind of whatever.
That's what I say. It's whatever. I never really cared for it, other than the Purple Haze is cool. And I also hate this one of Giorno's biggest ass pulls that I hate, which is just him giving himself a vaccine that he made out of a snake that he just puts into his bloodstream.
Yeah, so...
And I think that's dumb.
I think I can follow the chain of logic, but it is so far-fetched that it's too weird. So, like...
Also, I think Man in the Mirror just looks dumb.
Man in the Mirror does look really dumb. I have many issues with this arc.
Yeah, the goggles, when his Stand Eater does not.
And I don't like Illusio's design either. Illusio has like a... I don't know. He just has a boring design.
Yeah, he needs to go back to Dr. Stone.
He does look like Dr. Stone character. I was going to say that.
Because the Dr. Stone character does have his hair.
Yeah, the
Danganronpa guy. The ultimate buff student.
The ultimate primate high schooler.
Yes.
I forget his name. I love him very much. Tsukasa. Yeah. Very good.
So yeah, I kind of this is a whatever to me. It's
I kind of, and I don't know. I feel like I have to be
having a Bakio actually using Moody Blues for combat is a cool part of this. Though, like when he kind of comes together with his stand and does like a kick. And
yeah, he using his hand. Doesn't he like he reverses time on his hand so that he can distract the villain?
He cuts his hand off, and it goes back. Okay, one thing I guess I want to say was the stand design or stand audio thing. The effect that Moody Blues has. Is very good.
I wanted to mention that earlier. I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, the scene or it's kind of the sound of like it's like a dial tone or something. I can't even describe what it is, but it sounds like a VHS and then like a dial tone sound. It is so cool. Also, we didn't talk about Moody Blues' butt. There's that one panel where Moody Blues has a big butt and it's really funny. Or frame.
The butt is like just as much there as Trish's ass crack. But yeah, it has a great ass.
It's a sweet ass.
So get rid of that. So we don't talk about.
Yeah, I really don't have much to say. Fugo is not one of my favorites.
The reason why Fugo has his own. It's all he gets.
I would say that. I guess it was cool to see Pompeii. I think that was a cool location. But the problem with this is like
we talked about it in our episode where like I think they missed out an opportunity to have a stand that like could have something related to the dead because having Pompeii and all those people covered in ash, like having an ash related stand or just a weird way to animate. Like it would have been creepy to have these people like walking corpses kind of thing. These like ash corpses.
It is kind of strange to use for Illuso to set up an ambush in Pompeii, a place that is ruins and there are no mirrors.
Hardly any mirrors. He probably had to bring them with him.
Yeah.
And it's not like what with the hangman that like you can just reflect off of like tears,
anything,
tears and water.
Yeah, there's part where he's in the eyeball, I think.
Yeah, coins. Remember that's what Whole Horse like, does. He can like throw the coin up there and gets or no, that's what Polnareff does. I think he throws the coin, gets them reflected, and stabs the coins. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's just a weird location for that stand.
Yeah, the visuals are pretty good though. Yeah, as you said, the part when Abakio gets split in half it looked really good. Yeah. And it's really satisfying to see that.
Yes. So, I think next up, you get Coco Jumbo. Amazing. The best poor turtle. He gets done dirty. The
punished turtle.
So, and we get probably one of my favorite fights in JoJo, which is Grateful Dead and Beach Boy.
Yeah, this is probably one of the better ones done in the anime
first, too. I think the first, like, really, like, two... since part 3, like, two people fighting, like, team stand, like, since, like, Hangman and Whole Horse and Boingo and Whole Horse. Basically anything with Whole Horse.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think it's great. It's probably one of my favorite fights in this part.
The one thing, like, just thinking of what the anime does over the manga is the voice acting of Pesci is really, really good.
Prosciutto is very good as well.
Prosciutto is really cool.
They capture that relationship perfect. Like, it's just as brutal.
One of the things they didn't do, which I remember hearing... Oh, I wanted to recommend this earlier, but I forgot. There's this YouTuber named Hammam Beat who goes through each part and, like, meticulously documents each individual change that's made. And he mentioned this, that's why I'm bringing it up. But they don't they don't show Prosciutto until the old man reveal in the manga. So we don't see Prosciutto directly until the old man reveal. So it's like a surprise.
I thought they showed him like walking down the hall, like the entire train.
They do jump on the train. They show them jump on the train, but we don't see like the old man reveal is like supposed to be his reveal. But they kind of couldn't do that because they wanted to do these flashback scenes anyway.
Also, remember when they're in the turtle and Giorno just figures out how his stand works like 100%? Like, oh, it goes off body temperature because women are known to have cooler body temperatures.
It's like...
And he's like an old man thinking this where Naruto's just like going senile, like falling, like literally falling apart.
I forgot all about that.
And Oda and Fugo just fell asleep.
I totally forgot about that.
Oh, Kujobo's fine. They can live up to 1,000 years.
I think it would have been really funny if they changed how Coco Jumbo looks, because he just looks identical to a turtle. He doesn't change.
But yeah. And then, we get the whole Mista going out there and getting shot in the head.
I think one of the other differences, they made Mista look a lot older, too.
Because he's aging with the ice cubes on him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you get the part with, like, Bruno versus Prosciutto, and he's just, like, following the train is so brutal, and...
Yeah.
It's, like, the risks he's taking to fight them is, like, amazing.
And also, Prosciutto's resolve to stay alive, even though his body's in mangles. Well, to stay alive so that he can still have Grateful Dead's effect is so cool.
He also got really lucky when like he comes up into pieces and his heart in the train like somehow made his body part fall to him so he could put himself back together.
It was Pesci's doing.
Pesci was
if he hadn't done that.
Pesci was the real threat, the most dangerous one out of the two because of his resolve and his freaking horrifying fishing hook.
Yeah, I think I probably would say that this one was made better by the anime, just because it does the acting of Pesci and of course like the fight at the end is so cool when Bruno and Pesci face off.
Yeah.
Oh, another big difference. They did tweak a lot of this. Remember at the very end of this fight, Pesci kind of fakes them out.
Didn't he yoink Trish out?
Yeah, he yoinks Trish out. So initially...
Didn't he just have the turtle or something?
You know what he did initially was he jumped in the turtle.
Oh, that's right.
And then he wrapped Beach Boy around everyone's neck.
That's right, yeah.
And it was kind of the same effect where it was like, he just had a threat and then Bruno just like was like, fuck you, I'm better. Gave him the arrivederci.
Which is very well done.
That was really good. That scene was awesome. And him just like falling into pieces.
So brutal. Especially like, but that's when they show like, Prosciutto in the train is like, oof. But it's great. I think, this is done. Words cannot describe how well this one was done.
Yeah, this was really good. All the imagery of Beach Boy crawling under the skin looked really good and creepy.
And it's really well done just how much character Villain of the Week really is, they give to a Villain of the Week, essentially.
Yeah.
And Pesci just grows so much.
It's so rare. Neck. Yeah, it's so rare for them to have an arc. Pesci has an entire arc.
Only to be, like, destroyed in pieces.
Also, you just mentioned his neck. Another thing that's incredible. The sound effects that they gave for Pesci's, like, rubber neck moving were so fucking hilarious.
Like when he grabs his neck at one point.
It sounds like, rubbber being, like a balloon being, rubbed.
Or like a really, like, leather chair that, like, makes sound every time you move your butt.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think it's great. Probably top 3 arcs done in this.
Yeah, I would agree.
But with every high, you have to go to a low.
Which everyone was expecting.
Yes. I mean, I'm surprised they kept the Trish Dinosaur handprint thing.
Yes.
Because it's dumb.
It is kind of dumb, but it's also, like, mystery element.
Still. Yes. But, so we got Babyface, a.k.a. the rape laptop.
Yes. Malone, who I have to say, I love Malone's design.
Yes, Malone's...
Even though he is literally a rapist, which is not
his
cool.
laptop is.
I guess so. So this is this one is a couple changes from the manga to the anime. We have one scene. So we both noticed this, and I think we both talked about this in our Part 5 and Parts episode. But they added a scene where, or at least they made it more explicit, where after being like infected with Babyface, the woman like checks herself to make sure she wasn't raped, which was very strange to me. It was like a scene that was like too real.
Yeah.
It was like, this is too real for my funny Jojo punching game.
I also got the feeling that they wanted to get through this as fast as possible as well.
Yeah.
Because it's like, half of the episode is Babyface, and then the first 5 minutes of the next episode is Babyface, and I just want to get rid of it.
Yeah, it is really funny how quick, because plot wise, Babyface is extremely important. It is Giorno learning. It's Giorno learning that he can evolve himself.
Yes, but this place also, it's just weird because his stand is a laptop, and then it grows legs, impregnates someone, makes a baby come out, and it attaches it to the mother. But then it learns, he teaches it to the laptop, and then he just gets on a motorcycle and drives. Yeah. So I'm assuming that if someone who's not a stand user sees this motorcycle driving itself down and it's freaking out, and it's not Babyface technically, because Babyface is a laptop, so it's Babyface's child, I think it's referred to, but still.
Yeah, that's one thing I wanted to say. It's kind of weird to even consider it a stand. It definitely has stand abilities.
Yeah, so does every Babyface child have that ability to remove parts?
Yeah, I don't know. Because that the ability that becomes a thing is it can just break itself down and become anything. It can change its matter composition.
Yeah.
Which is insane. This is an insane ability.
And but it also doesn't kill Bruno for some reason. There's some really weird logic choices because it will kill. It killed his mother. So and it wants to kill. So it's just weird. It doesn't kill Bruno, but I know how to keep Trish alive. But Bruno, he's fine. Bruno keeps checking everything. He's I shouldn't, this menacing cabinet. It's really weird.
Oh, that was another thing they added too. Early on, when the first time we see Coco Jumbo, they added that cabinet, because in the manga, the cabinet wasn't there before.
Yeah, also there isn't TV there anymore, because they had that one part where they were supposed to be watching Captain Tsubasa, but they chickened out and not did it. And didn't do it.
Probably just would have been more effort.
Yeah, but it's just fights whatever. They didn't put in the
greatest scene of all time.
Yeah, when Jordan says, we're going to steal 1,000 cards, and Fugo goes, wait, what? They didn't have that in there, sadly. And I think we mentioned this earlier, where they don't think anything's weird when people, are, trying to say something weird's going on. When Jordan's trying to wave him down, you're oh, he's saying hi. I understand that Baki would be what an asshole just waving at me. But, everyone else sees him, hey, Giorno, he's having a fun time over there, and then he's not. Then he just pulls out I can create life, so I can just put this square back in my throat, because I know exactly what I need to be put back in there. Which doesn't make sense.
It does. It kind of doesn't.
And then when he feels I got shot, let me just put what you conveniently hack. I know exactly what's missing to put back in there. And I guess it just slides in and just perfectly
I do like how it slides in. It's very creepy, but it's also
But when he needs to heal, though, they just put his hand on him. He just he needs to get in an object,
turn it into that, yeah.
And does he have to put his hand in there and
I guess so.
I just don't 100%. It's not
it's not something that's very developed outside of this episode or this few episodes.
Because he just says, he can heal now. If it's not like Josuke, where he needs to hold you, to touch you to heal you, and he can't heal himself, but Giorno can heal himself and others. So it was just the one thing I like about it is that there is a lot of pain to it. It's not a painless. Oh, you have to feel the pain.
Yeah, it's something that it's not you get. With Josuke, it's I'm all better now. But with this, it's ooh, there's a real sad what's the word, drawback to using it. Even though it does become the way they heal.
Again, another ass pull of Giorno that just annoys me, and this had to give him a healer, even though they haven't got a healer since all their injuries that they've encountered up to this point, especially Mista, who's been shot up to that point in the head
several times. Well, number 5 pushed the bullets out though.
Still, he should have a giant bullet hole in his forehead in Babyface arc, and the Grateful Egg, especially the Babyface arc, he doesn't. So, I think this is just as, who cares as I remember it.
Yeah. It was really weird, too, because in my mind, when I was reading, when I was waiting for these episodes, I was okay, get through Babyface to get to the real good one. Yeah.
Also, one
which
thing,
is White Album.
So he sends the snake back to Malone. It got it before he landed. He got back on the train.
Yeah,
it met him there. How fast is a snake that he can create?
That's one of the things that I have the big issue with. Did it hit a ride
on a truck?
I guess we're supposed to assume that, because as you said,
it's stupid.
The snake. There's no way the snake could have snaked his way that far, that fast.
It's stupid. So yeah. So after we get done that turd in the wind. I believe it's White Album's next, right?
Yeah, because this is where I was like, okay, well, we got through Babyface, whatever. One of my least favorite arcs in all of probably JoJo. Well, part 5 at least.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Did think of
more
part
cruel
6.
to it. But so
Part 3.
Yeah, part 3 in particular. But so I was looking forward to White Album, and I have to say, pretty big disappointment.
A lot of movement, and the movement in CG, and it did not look good.
I think I don't want to harp too much on this because I think I already have. Where it's
I like
the
part,
timing is weird.
I still like the part like when they're in the car and like they're just kind of like it's so cool that he's being stuck to the window. I think that
part's cool. So yeah, basically every JoJo fight can be like broken down to the same elements. You've got the element of like the supernatural suspense, and that part is where they're like in the car and they start to rip their. Like, Mrs. Hand gets, like, completely ripped off, like, the flesh.
Giorno's foot cannot get off the brakes.
Yeah, I think that part is really good.
Also, he's just voiced by Bakuga.
Oh,
and
yeah.
all I hear is Bakuga.
What's his name? Gachio.
Yeah.
Which means ice.
Really?
Yeah, he was kind of funny, I guess. He screamed a lot.
They hired him for the role, and that's what he got. That's what he did.
He did many scream.
So,
oh yeah, we also got a little scene in this episode where we see Risotto using his ability.
Getting a tease.
Yeah, we a little tease where he's like kind of finishing off some other nameless fucking mafia mooks.
Yeah. So yeah, once they got out of the car, it kind of went down. I mean, other than like the shot of Giorno just holding Mista when he's like basically like dying in his arms.
Yeah. So. Okay, the fight itself has some weird elements, but so like we have things where Giorno is turning sand into, he's turning the car into like grass that only grows in tundras, and then that grass turns into a snowboard.
The big plot where like nothing alive can live in this cold of temperature.
Which I think that is cool that Giorno was, because Giorno was clearly a kid that had like National Geographic growing up because he knows all these random facts about nature.
I don't know, he knows a lot of stupid facts.
But so the scene where he uses...
He knows about body temperature very well.
Yeah, and he knows all of these stupid animals that he keeps making.
I think I love the design of White Album, but yeah, just...
Yeah, so this is the thing. When I read this arc, it was like my favorite.
Yeah.
I thought that it was just such a fun fight. The gore was really good.
The way to beat him is very brutal and like kind of like...
The scene when they fall in the water, it felt like game over. Like, I was like, oh, we're fucking dead. Like, but the way that they... Because in the manga, things felt like they go so much quicker. But in the anime, it's like... I've already mentioned this before. There's a scene where Mista is just like hanging off of a ledge while he's climbing out of the water. And he has this scene where he's like, do I jump into the water and keep attacking him? Or do I climb up and get the disc? It's like, just do something. Just stop hanging there and flailing like an idiot. Like, yeah, just do a thing instead of talking while you're moving. It felt really awkward.
Yeah. It was a very awkward fight compared to manga.
Yeah.
Where it had some goods, but it really disappointed us.
It just did. And the visuals weren't great.
You're like, oh man, can't wait to see White Album finally. And then he just like...
Yeah, like Gently Weeps was...
We gently weep to this.
Gently Weeps was handled strangely, in my opinion. I did like the colors that went with him.
Yeah.
They gave him, like, obviously you want to see...
White.
You want to see white. But yeah, Gently Weeps just looked kind of weird, and it also just still kind of didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I think the one saving grace of the arc is that one scene where Mista is going to town on the end, just firing shots, and shots looked really good. And when Giorno comes on land and he's like, no, Mista, it was your resolve that got me through.
He's like holding his corpse like, you can heal me. I know you can heal me. I'm dying here.
That one shot where the sun is raising behind him is so cool looking.
You had to take an OP. So... I think we all say is worse than the manga. I think
without a doubt. Great. Oh, the one thing that we didn't mention that I'm just remembering now is they shuffled the character introductions around a lot.
Backstory.
And I think for the most part it made a lot of sense.
It was basically their first stand fight. Like Mista would have gotten it in this one, but it was done at like the first one.
Yeah, I think Abakio didn't get his until way later.
I think it wasn't until Man in the Mirror, right?
Yes, it was. And I think it just made so much more sense.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like, it just makes you understand the character quicker so that you can get to know the character better later on.
Why he's so bitter.
Yeah, because I don't know, it just would have been... I think it's a really smart choice.
Yeah.
Mista's was split up, because we see part of Mista's in like the first episode he fights, and then we see more of it later, which I thought was smart too, because he's like one of the most important Jobros in this.
Yeah. He is like he is the Polnareff, he is the Koichi of just being like that Jobro that probably gets the most fights and being loved by the fans, like kind of thing. So
yeah, there's the one scene in particular where he is just... There's a lot of really good animation cuts.
Yeah, him being shot up like 20 million bullets.
Yeah. So that's, I don't know, I think later on the fight kind of redeems itself, but like also I didn't mention the water. The water looked so terrible when they were on top of the car.
It's hard to make water look good in anime.
But it just, like, don't use CG, guys. Yeah. Like, anything but that, please.
So, next up, the Mystery King Crimson arc, which is one of the best as well.
It's so crazy to break down part 5 and how it just hit after hit after hit. Like, once we hit White Album, it's like all the way down. I'm like, hell yeah, everything's great. The Mystery King Crimson, really awesome, very good. I don't know what else to say. Like, yeah,
it's great. They did a good job. Like we said earlier, just talking about King Crimson and describing what his power is and what it does. That's all I can really say. Like, great.
One of the other standout scenes with voice acting with not only King Crimson, where he's like menacingly climbing up the wall, was really cool.
And just hearing like the whoosh and just Trish is gone as the hand in his hand.
Yeah,
so good.
That was pretty well done. The way that they did the cuts, the King Crimson time skips. So this is one of the things that I could not believe they didn't put in an OP. I thought for sure, before Part 5 even started airing, I thought for sure they were going to have an OP change, because ever since Part 3 they've been doing the OP change thing, and I thought they were going to have it where it was going to skip 5 seconds of the OP like abruptly, and they never did that, even though they did do a scene where King Crimson is in the OP. But because I thought it'd be really clever if they like skipped over like a verse of the song or whatever.
So I think it's just as good as it is in the manga, probably a little bit better because of the King Crimson showing.
Also, another voice acting standout is Narancia.
Oh yeah, the whole the boat part.
Trish, Trish's wound is my wound. Like,
yeah,
and it makes it even more heartbreaking when you think like, oh, he fucking died. Like, Diavolo kills him later. Like,
he's dead.
It's because he chose to go down this path.
No, it was Rolling Stones that did it.
We'll talk about that in the very end.
It was me, Rolling Stones. I was the real villain that killed these boys.
We also do see Baby Bruno and his backstory, and I fucking love little Bruno.
Bruno's backstory is great.
Bruno as a child is the most adorable thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
So bug-eyed. But I love the flashback outfits.
They're always like proto versions of their part 5 outfits.
Fugo's just the suit, but with like the imprints of the holes where they would seem to become.
He's getting ready. He's slowly transitioning into an outfit full of holes.
I know. So we talk about it more, but it's just good. King Crimson's cool.
Yeah, we don't have to really harp too much on.
Design's cool. They kept the whole blood thing, and
another time where they didn't like censor gore really. Like, oh yeah, we just see Trisha's hand get fucking lopped off.
They showed the hand going through the chest, like, fully, and the blood spewing out. Even they showed a lot of blood like, just exploding, like when, we saw White Album get his neck thing, just fountains of blood, like Kill Bill style.
Mm-hmm.
So,
every time King Crimson does anything, they animated him so well. I was really impressed at how consistently animated King Crimson was.
They really love King Crimson, man. Everybody loves
Everyone should. He's the coolest stand ever. Except that one frame looked really bad. There's a couple frames of animation that are just hilariously terrible looking.
All the animation was just for like sticky fingers, not for King Crimson. So, next up is Clash and Talking Head, which not a fan of this fight too much. I never really was.
I'm actually really on the fence. I think I didn't like it more or less.
I like Clash, but Talking Head, I'm just like, it's a sound that makes you not like tell the truth, and I'm like, this is a weird team. I know like they have that weird. Cause there's a Jojo note saying they are they're based off of what's called Enigma album cover, them being very affectionate towards each other. But like it's just a weird combo of powers where it's just like not live and then a fish that slashes you. It is a weird combo, but that's why I like it. Like it feels like these two, even though maybe clearly they have affection for each other, they are all the guards, or the elite guards. Yeah, to the boss.
So I think it's interesting because like clearly these people have affection for each other. So even though their stands are really weird, they work together in a way where they're able to use their stands also, effectively.
And also, like, Naranja literally, like they can notice Naranja's something weird going on with Naranja, and like, oh, it's probably nothing.
Yeah, it's one of these scenes where you start to get, like, you roll your eyes at how dumb everyone else is being just conveniently for the plot.
Yeah.
One of the things, though, so the scene where they kick the civilian, adding that little frame of Abakio take a sip of wine is genius.
There's a reason why that's, like, heavily memed.
Yeah, that was such a hilarious, like, that was how you adapt manga.
Yeah.
This is how we do it, guys.
This is just, like, this weird band. So, yeah, I'm personally not too big on this arc in the manga or in the anime. It's just, like, I feel like it's just weird.
I really like I like elements of it. I like that it gives Narancia time to shine. It also, as we said before, like, gives Narancia's voice acting. Like, he goes through such a weird series of events in this episode where he's, like, screaming and then he's completely, like, resolute and calm at the end.
Yeah.
So I think that it just, I don't know. I think that is good, but...
So then, like, Giorno gets his throat, like, cut, too.
Yeah, Giorno gets fucked up pretty bad. Also, I thought Crash looked really cute.
I love
the
the design of Clash.
Shark.
I just don't care for Talking Head too much. But that's just my opinion. But
I think Talking Head is interesting, but it could have. It feels like a stand that could be used more. You're
going to be my elite guard. What's your ability? I can make people lie.
Hey, it could be used pretty effectively.
Then again, he has some dumb weird Carne. He's next.
It's crazy. Like part 5, it's like boom, 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 like great arc after great arc after great arc. So even if you're not like a super big fan of the actual like stand itself, I think that the character growth in this fight is what's the most interesting, and also like the two guys are a really interesting stand combo.
Yeah,
Taizano and
Squallow. Frollo, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I just never been big on this fight. I'm not sure. It may be just me, but it's always just...
I understand why. Yeah. I don't know. I just remember... This is when I was getting... Like, when I was reading part 5, I remember hitting this part of the manga and just being like, I can't put this down. Yeah. Like, I need to finish this as soon as I
do. I love their relationship. I love them just, like, watching from a distance.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm just like...
There's certain things that I love about Crash, like going through Narancia's tears, and I like that it changes size when it enters different bodies of water. I think that's very fun.
Yeah.
Seeing like tiny Giorno.
But I do like that also, like, they're probably running away together. They're in a crowd of people. Let's find someone who's injured. But like, the one thing I've been talking about, they made this one line where they say like, the mob members try to dress so they look like normal people.
Yeah.
And then you see every member, like, you see these two wearing, like, metal shoulder pads, and...
The other guy's wearing, like, a onesie that's missing a sleeve.
You see Pesci is Pesci.
Yeah.
Prosciutto has this giant, like, necklace thing, and Rosita Nero is Rosita... He has, like, evil eyes.
Could you imagine the complete overkill it would be if everyone in the Jojo universe dressed up this way, though? Like, it would be, like, sensory overload constantly. You wouldn't be able to tell what was happening.
So, even like in part 8, doctors just have their names all over their shirts.
Sam, we're not trying to talk about later parts.
I'm not talking about later parts, but still, it's just a doctor. It's just a ridiculous costume just for a normal.
But yeah, hilarious.
It's just like we have mobsters dressed up as weird as school. Even like students in like part 3 and 4 just have these weird attachments. Like,
I mean, why wouldn't Jotaro have a chain on his school uniform?
Okiyatsu had like trillions and billions and...
Like, have you ever thought about how big the size of the chain is on Jotaro's?
It's like, humongous.
It's on his collar.
Yeah.
An entire, like, normal-sized chain.
He probably could have strangled someone with it.
Definitely could have, and probably has.
So, and then... So, I think it's just as whatever for me. Not sure about what you're feeling for this.
No, I think that's pretty much it. Like, I thought it was fine. I thought it was good.
Now, one of my favorites, my biggest surprise, is B.I.G. Carne just running towards the jet and Mista just destroying them.
Hilariously. This is another scene where they just cut out, like, a little scene where they, like, pass... They go through the security. Yeah, I find it really interesting that they cut out all these scenes, these smaller scenes.
It was a weird character, just a weird them interacting with civilians who are disgusting creatures and cannon fodder.
Yeah.
So yeah, this arc really like benefited like the suspense of like drawing it out.
Yeah,
because it is a movement one. You get that whole thing with the margarita pizza on the wall.
One of my favorite moments ever is just Giorno just thinking how he wants to eat a margarita pizza.
And then just on the wall, like, oh, I want to draw a margarita pizza, which is just a weird thing of us, like, B.I.G. growing onto him and making him right.
Yeah, it's growing on him, and it also has access to his thoughts, which is strange.
It is weird, and then just comes to a giant, like blob monster, essentially, but I love having, like, Trish find... I thought this would happen, like, sooner when I read part 5, like, okay, Trish is gonna have, like, a weird, like, survival... like arc of her trying to survive without a stand against this weird thing that's happening, but it didn't come till like way till the end. But I thought she would have gotten it like later or earlier. I mean,
yeah, like, because it was always teased because like we know that she always could see stands,
especially like maybe against Babyface and like Malone, where like he is a creep to women, so it kind of makes sense that she would be the one to combat it. It's
good that they didn't do that though.
Yeah,
that would have not been good.
But yeah, just I love little cute B.I.G. Like a little one.
Little cheap chibi B.I.G.
And it has some great shots though with like with Trish and everything. I really love it because
the suspense I think is like
I may have a bias towards Trish anyway as well.
The suspense of this fight is so well done in the anime. It's like because the whole gimmick of Big is like it only attacks things that are moving. It attacks things that are moving the fastest.
Yeah.
So it's about Trish like slowly creeping to the door, trying to utilize whatever she can.
Giorno also cuts off his hand and also like breaks the window and gets like somehow a dinner tray is like blocking from any more air.
Yeah. There's a permanent fix. Yeah. It's really cool how they frame this whole fight too, where Trish is the one that's trying to save Giorno here. Like
she should be a coward and like run away, but she's going forward to get the brooch and get away.
Yeah, she knows that there will be no way to survive if she doesn't do this action. So she like stands up, and it's a great arc.
Yeah, especially I've read like this is like Araki like this is her like maturing and growing up. Like guess what that's why like her like, shoe get. I think he said like Araki like oh yeah her boot coming off is her the symbolism of her like growing up. Like okay Araki.
Yeah, you know that common female growing up theme of
and then she has
them losing a boot.
Yeah, then she gets another one. It's fine.
I don't remember. Or I don't understand. That doesn't track to me.
You ever listen to Araki author notes or read them?
Sometimes. I've never seen that one.
Some are just nonsensical.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of manga are always really funny like that.
It could be like, oh, I read a book once, so I want to give Rohan a book stand. It sounds interesting. I'm like, okay.
I really love how Honesty is about his frivolosity.
You're like, you ever hear the saying, never judge a book by its cover? Well, like, what did that give about the stand? Like, that kind of like author notes. Or, I saw a power line once. That'd be a cool stand.
That's so funny how that's like such a natural, like, expression of creativity, though. It's like, oh, what if this was a stand?
So, I think this arc is better. I think the Wannabe's alright, not as good.
I love the way they animate the
softness.
The softness it's really good. Like the part when he's Big is attacking the clock.
Yes,
it's really funny. It's such a fun gimmick, I think. And also, Spice Girl got like she got a minor redesign.
Yeah,
but I think it makes her look so much better.
Because they gave instead of just having like the gold experience like all green eyes kind of thing, she has like iris.
So they gave her pupils.
Yeah, that's what I'm going
for. And I think they also changed the shape of her head a little bit to make her more humanoid than before.
Yeah.
To me, I think that it's just like nailed it. Like
I'm glad they kept the pose of her like curled up in a ball kind of thing.
Yeah, we see like all the iconic Spice Girl poses only in this arc because this is the only time she's ever relevant.
And she used it once to stop Mista from shooting himself in her body.
And I know she literally does use it again to prevent Diavolo from getting the arrow, but it's like I really wish that this had happened sooner. It kind of couldn't have because B.I.G. is such a big threat that he needs to be at the end.
I really wish it would, because I love the design of the Spice Girl.
I would love to have seen more of Trish just being with Spice Girl.
I wish she would do like one shots, just like various missions that Giorno, Mista, and Trish do.
Yeah, same.
But
Trishta.
But this thing, and I do love B.I.G. just becoming like an urban legend, like sea monster.
Oh yeah, that's really fun. There's also one scene at the very end where B.I.G. is like completely taken over the plane, and his face is like the front of the plane, and he smashes into the water. And I thought that was so great looking.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole idea of B.I.G. becoming, like a sea monster-esque urban legend is really fun and satisfying.
Yes. So all in all, I think better than it was in the manga.
I would probably agree, almost wholeheartedly. I think that the benefits from being an anime just completely help this arc.
Now, probably the best animated or the best done part I'm thinking of the anime, which is the Doppio arc and the King Crimson vs. Metallica. Probably the best.
Probably, yes. I think there are some particular animation cuts that are so awesome. I think about them a lot. Like, the one scene where, like, partially awakened King Crimson is, like, grabs all of the scissors that are around there, that are, like, around him, and he throws them. It just looks so, the way it's animated, it's so visceral, and it's so, like, scary to see how powerful King Crimson is.
Yeah. But yeah, Doppio, they get the backstory right away with like, him being, like, the prison child, and
and like murdering. So they did a lot with Doppio,
and then him hulking out and the fortune teller thing, and
that was something I kind of forgot about. Was that his body changed so much between his personalities. It's hilarious to see him wearing Doppio's clothing, but he's completely a beefy buff boy.
And then but I mean that stuff is always really good. Doppio is great. He's such a weird character, especially with the phone stuff is really good. I think it's so much better than the manga because you hear it. His brain and the eyes he make is...
his eyes like darting in different directions.
I love it so much. And then, that's very well done. And
all of the body horror is really good. Like, the scene when
it's just as brutal as it is in manga. Like, shooting the razor blades out of his mouth.
Like, the scene where the scissors start to form around his trachea and they start to cut. Oh my god.
Even, what's it called? Risotto's invisibility is really cool.
Yeah, that does look really good, actually. We see the image of him seeing the future through his hair, through his bangs. Which is so cool looking.
I love that image. It's a great way to do epitaph. Yeah.
It looks awesome. And it's something that we see used, like, even later on, too. Like, and it makes so much sense.
Yeah. It's just super good. It's just, like, words come to... You are, like, speechless watching this arc. It's just, you're going, oh, like...
Yeah, I remember we got to watch it with our friend who's an anime only, and it was so good. It felt so fun to be with someone who's experiencing this for the first time.
Yes.
Who ended up liking it a lot, I think.
Yeah. But we also have the Baccio getting donut as well in this arc. Sad, but just as well. Just as sad. I think, did they add that whole thing with him meeting?
No.
That was what there. I thought they added one thing from that or not.
No, I'm pretty sure the everything about him meeting his police officer friend in the afterlife was identical.
Okay, I thought something got added.
It was his partner, his police officer friend.
Yes. So I think words can't really describe how well this arc done. It's just as good as it is in the manga. Maybe a little bit better because the epitaph way of showing it, and
maybe better. I love the little scene where when the epitaph awakens, it kind of like yawns as it opens his eyes. That is such a fun, like, ooh, I love it.
So good.
It's hard to say more. Like, it's just really fun. The imagery's great. It's sad as hell because our boy dies.
Yeah,
our lesbian mom.
Narancia, like, freaks out.
Yeah.
It's sad.
And then, like, Mista, like, holding back the tears, like...
Also, and then, so I think
Metallica also just looks really cool.
It's the little, like, blob.
I love Metallica.
The little Princess Mononoke, like, spirits.
Yeah.
So, then we also learn about the, because we get the message from Polnar with, like, the arrow origins.
Yes.
Which is, like, so, I feel like the arrow origins are so weird still.
So, yeah, we talked about this in our podcast, but it is midichlorians.
Yeah, essentially.
It's literally, like...
And a space disease.
Yeah, taking something science fiction that's not explained and trying to give it explanation. It's not necessary, but I like the way it's presented in the anime.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of wish it was just like these weird arrows or something, or even like a meteorite. Just say that this metal that came from a meteorite, I would have been fine with that. But just saying like, "Hey, had a disease," I've always found this really weird.
There's some weird implications that there are aliens in the JoJo universe, and like that we see. There's implications a few times.
What, in part 4?
Yeah.
He may or may not be an alien, Jokakaka.
But it's weird to think, and like whatever. I won't talk about anything else, but because I don't want to like spoil anything for later parts. But it's weird to like add that as an element, because before it's like it felt like the stand was like choosing you.
Yeah. Because I always think the arrows, especially when Kira's dad in part 4, the arrow would like guide him towards someone that has potential.
Yeah, and it's just strange to me that like the process of getting a stand can kill you. And I know like another big elephant in the room, can of worms, is Jotaro's mom.
Yeah,
like not being able.
Unless you have Josuke there, the heal and like make you survive, make you get a stand.
Which just that
breaks it,
confuses things even more. Because it's like, wait, so why did they die? Like,
don't worry about it.
But whatever.
And then what's it called? Yeah, we get to Orson. Right,
sorry. One thing I wanted to say. I liked how the way that they explain it. Like the aspect ratio changes so that it's like it looks like an old film reel.
Yeah,
I thought that was really clever.
Yes. So next up, we start going into the Colosseum stuff. We get to Green Day and Oasis. Which I do love I love the Green Day stuff. I am not too big on the Oasis stuff.
I agree. I think. Oh, so this is something that we have talked about before.
What the B.I.G reference stuff, or
no?
Remember the time we didn't know that it was actually happening in the manga?
No, yeah, that was something that happened. No, but this is a complaint that I explicitly had during the Green Day fight. Was there's
the visual effect of the Green Day?
No, it's the Oasis part. There's a part at the end where Bruno is running away from Oasis underground, and when you're reading a manga and the backgrounds aren't like explicitly, when the backgrounds are like plain, because a lot of times Araki, especially earlier on in JoJo, Araki wouldn't draw backgrounds in like real action scenes because you're just focusing on the action.
Yeah.
But in that scene, it's like Bruno is just running through this series of like empty chambers underground.
Yeah,
it's not sewers. It's like it feels like catacombs or something.
It's like what Oasis are they swimming through, which is just like a water version of concrete, right? He just kind of keeps running through, no like real logic to it.
Yeah, but like it just doesn't make sense. Why is Bruno running through? Because it shows him going in and out of zippers. Whatever. I don't want to harp on this too much.
Doing it nonstop. It's weird.
It doesn't look as cool as it did.
It's not like a weird like pocket dimension that people assumed he goes into when he does that.
If it had been tunnels, like we see Oasis is in tunnels earlier. If it had been tunnels, then it would have, I think, at least made more sense. But
or go with catacombs or something.
Yeah, I don't know if there are catacombs in Rome, but
who knows?
I think it would have made more sense visually.
Yeah. So yeah, but I really like
green tea.
I love green Day.
Green tea.
Yeah. And
Green Day is good. I do like Green Day.
It's brutal. I love him just chucking a body out of a helicopter. His weird mad doctor stuff and the recording on video, and then the Giorno's big brutality on him is fucking amazing.
It's great. It's awesome. The whole like set piece for the fight too, where Giorno and Mista team up and do the sexy pose together.
Yeah. Which in logic, there's a picture of the logic where his legs stretch out like really far.
Yeah, that was when someone pointed that out to me. I was like, no, it doesn't make sense. Why?
And I just love like they have to climb this helicopter to get to him. Mm-hmm. I love it.
It is just really cool, and I like how he like dissects himself to
that weird
throw
spine.
Himself. Yes. Oh, the way that his spine like
crawls away. Yeah.
That was really good. That was really creepy.
So the Green Day stuff is awesome. And the was like a 2-minute muda or like a 1-minute muda that for the 7-page one.
Yeah, it was pretty long. I don't know if it
was good.
I think it was like 40 seconds or so.
I still think it was very good.
I don't know if this is like a unpopular opinion. I find it kind of like hard to tell what's happening.
In what?
In the muda. They do that thing where the action is kind of... I can't describe it. I can't describe it without like looking at it and seeing how it's just like a bunch of frames just like flashing really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I wish that it feels like they I don't know. I wish that the whole fight had been because there's some really good cuts of it in the beginning, but then there's this thing where like he's kind of like fading out, like the punches are fading out, and it looks just kind of hard to look at. But the Re was good.
Yeah, Giorno's voice actor did very well, and yeah, thrown into the trash truck,
which only gets picked up on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
The only thing that wasn't really affected by the mold, luckily.
Yes,
because the driver just immediately takes off and crushes it.
What is Lune Mare? Is it Monday, Wednesday, Friday? Am I right? Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yeah, you're Italian.
I know my Italian.
And then the Oasis stuff. It's like whatever. I like the ending of the Oasis fight where he takes Doppio hostage.
Yes, that part is awesome.
I think that is the best part, but everything else is just kind of whatever. I do love these suit stands. I kind of wish Rocky would do more of that. Yeah, the suit stands are... I love Oasis's design. I just, as I said, like I think the fight itself is a little muddled. Like I would like see this what if just like if the Hitman team teamed up with like thing and just like I would love to see like White Album versus Oasis. Yeah, like, suit stand versus suit stands. Also, one thing I do love Oasis like because Oasis has kind of a character arc too. He kind of has like a mini Pesci moment where it's about him trying to like live without his master essentially. But he basically learned he just kind of just staying around him because he had nothing better to do. Yeah. But the one thing I do like is when he starts shoving mud in his mouth and spitting it, and then because it gets out of his range, it hardens and becomes like daggers. Cool uses to his powers. Yeah, I thought that was one of the coolest like reinterpretations of power. Yes, and then in a Joji. So I say the Green Day stuff was great. Most stuff is just as whatever as I remember, but yeah, otherwise it's kind of mixed bag. Yes, I agree. I would probably say the manga is better. I remember enjoying the manga better, but at this point, it's funny because I was like blazing through the manga as soon as I could, because this is when shit hits the fan in a major way. Yeah, and that's when we get to the last arc, which is the Colosseum stuff, which I still so weird about Part 5 ending, like the whole Colosseum stuff. I always it's like too much goes on. It just too much goes on. Like, so much happens. The whole like Requiem, the Silver Chariot Requiem stuff, and then there's like the Arrow stuff, and it's just like I don't know. I like it. I think it's very it's very unconventional ending for a JoJo part. That's what I mean. That's the word I'm really going for. Because normally it's like this big build up to the final boss. Like even in Part 4, there's still like a build up to this final like confrontation. Yeah, everybody's dying and then going back in time. And in this one, like. We kind of talked about it in our very last episode of Part 5 in Parts, but there isn't really a fight with Diavolo. Yeah. It's more about figuring out the mystery of the arrow. Getting the arrow so they can and like beat him. And like out they're trying to outmaneuver him, but they don't actually like really fight him. Yeah. Because once they get the arrow, it's a game over. Yeah, Narancia gets gated in Giorno's body that Giorno healed, like, oh, the body's fine, but there's no soul in it, so I guess I can go squeeze myself back in there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do have to say all the... we already mentioned, the voice acting was incredible. Yeah, we recently just did an episode on it, so we kind of don't want to talk about, like, everything again from the ending. Uh-huh. Last episode we really talked about, the design of everything, and... I think everyone was really in love with the Mista Trish dynamic when they switch bodies. Well, that's why when you get the figure, they give you the option to do that. Yeah, it's really fucking funny. So, it's just like I don't know. I love the King, like the King Crimson like begging part stuff, and like the whole way they showed Requiem working on him. Uh-huh. I think that was very well done. And then, of course, I have to Sleeping Slaves last, but... Yeah, well, this is not Sleeping Slaves. We're talking about, like, the Colosseum. I think Polnareff... Bringing Polnareff back was good. Having the little flashbacks with him are really fun. I forgot to actually happen in the manga. Yeah, I think it's really cool, too, that we get a little tease on what Silver Chariot Requiem, or Chariot Requiem, or whatever it's called. Well, originally, it just put people to sleep, but then just doing it before he died made another defense mechanism.
Yeah, because he's able to stop it.
He grabbed the arrow, yanks it away, and to stop it.
So I think this is a good time to bring up that other video that I was talking about before.
Go for it.
So this Oceans video, I guess I would have to recommend it. He very much takes away that the entirety of Part 5 is built around the concept of fate and kind of breaking from fate using your resolve. But the issue that I have here is, like, if we jump into Sleeping Slaves, Sleeping Slaves kind of, like, breaks that idea.
Are we going to Sleeping Slaves now?
I don't really want to yet. But so basically, the big thing at the end of this, the let's call it the fight with King Crimson, is the resolve to...
It's more of a chase for Requiem, or for the arrow.
Yeah, but it's the resolve to essentially kill yourself. Because Bruno needs to, like, set his soul free to get the arrow. So that's what they do. Because the whole thing is, like, your soul is a light behind you.
Yeah.
Which still is really weird. That's, I guess, the effect of Chariot, is that it removes your soul and it holds it in a little ball behind you. And Bruno... So, yeah, King Crimson, like, is aware of this, but he's able to utilize it to his own ability. Like, he's able to affect Chariot so that he can grab it. But Bruno does the ultimate sacrifice and, like, destroys his.
Yeah.
So, like, the idea is that Bruno is accepting fate. He's accepting that he was always destined to die. He's pretty much a corpse already. So this is, like, his final moment to accept fate and really do something worth, like, dying for, which is giving Giorno the arrow. So from that standpoint, I can kind of understand. I don't know. I don't think that this idea is communicated super clearly.
If it was just him accepting his death, I think, yeah, but the Sleeping Slaves making it about fate is kind of weird.
So, yeah, if we're going to talk about Sleeping Slaves now.
But overall, what do you think of, like, the whole arrow
I thought it was really good.
Requiem stuff?
I thought it was really good. I think, even though I wouldn't have thought this initially, I think it also benefited from having the, like, timing of anime. Yeah. Because there's a lot of scenes where it's just them standing around plotting, and it feels like every second that they're standing around is, like, a second that something horrible could happen. So it feels like there's this really big element of suspense, especially when they first come to and they think that the boss's body is in Bruno's. Yeah. But it's actually my boy, Diavolo.
Yeah, just... If you want more of our opinions during that arc, we just did an episode where we kind of, like, don't want to talk about it as much until we talk about Sleeping Slaves, because we can't stop talking about Sleeping Slaves because we have a weird opinion of not liking it, apparently.
Yeah, so, okay, I guess we'll just talk about fucking Sleeping Slaves.
Yeah.
So, some of the comments that I got, or that we got, our last time, were people who felt very strongly that Sleeping Slaves, this is also something that's parroted, or not parroted, but also felt by Oceans, up-and-coming Jojo YouTuber, who I've never watched until just now.
Probably has more subscribers.
Oh, definitely does. Good for him. He's got, like, 20K.
Damn.
Well, he does actual, like, video essays, though, unlike us. Like, he does, like, highly edited video essays. So he was saying how with Sleeping Slaves, and that's one of our commenters said, how Sleeping Slaves is the icing on the cake. Like, it's the thing that we get all of the themes, like, repackaged for us, like, all, like, wrapped nicely in a bow. The idea of, like, the fate being something that you can't change. But so here's my issue, and I'm sure people can probably correct me. But so the whole point of Sleeping Slaves, think about what happens. So we have this ball, the Rolling Stone, that, like, pretty much tells you you're going to die. And if it touches you, it'll let you die. But you're going to die anyway. But so then Mista thinks, oh, if I change the shape of the boulder, then it won't go after him. So then he does that, and then at the end, the boulder collapses, but then we see Narancia and Abakio's faces.
It just makes me feel...
So are we supposed to imply that you can change destiny or you can't change destiny? Because with that...
what delayed it?
he delayed it, but he also condemned Narancia and Nabakio to die.
So it was Mista's fault.
Yeah, if we're to assume that it's okay, so Mista has killed his friends. Like that's my takeaway from it. Because I don't know.
It just makes me feel like he didn't. It wasn't his decision that got him here. It was the stone. It made me feel like the stone made him going to die, or just like I get that feeling that like, it wasn't his decision, his choices that he died. It was this rock was basically going to make him die. I really don't like that, but
it doesn't. Yeah, it's just kind of weird. So okay, the one thing that I do think
especially the placement is just so weird to have that. It got to nowhere at the end. So after you got all these feelings, then this part comes out, or this chapters, and just makes you change your opinion about what just happened in this story.
Yeah, I don't know if it's supposed to change, but it makes me question.
Yeah.
So the one thing that I do want to say, so what people have talked about the whole fate thing in Jojo is that initially I was like, I don't really see it, but so here's how I grew to understand it. In part 5, the whole thing is that they are in a mafia, so they have to do what they're told. If they don't, they're gonna die. So they're told, you have to bring Trish to me, so they do, until the moment they find out that that's gonna end up killing Trish. So the idea is we will break what we're supposed to do. We'll fight against destiny so that Trish doesn't die, and we'll challenge the boss.
Yeah.
But I don't know. To me, okay, I can buy that. But then, like, the whole thing with Sleeping Slaves is, like, these characters, there's, like, a grand plan for all of these characters. Does that mean that was their fate supposed to be fighting fate? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Because,
So now the only reason Mista survived because he wasn't fated to die?
Yeah, like, so this is my issue with that. Is fate something that is definite, or is fate something that can be changed? Because Sleeping Slaves posits that fate can be changed, but like almost every other time we see fate presented in Jojo, even with fucking Boingo. Is it Oingo or Boingo? I was mixing them up.
It's Boingo.
With Boingo's thing predicts. Okay, so this is okay. Major part 6 spoiler for the next 30 seconds. Boingo's future prediction accurately predicts how Jotaro dies for real.
The conclusions are absolute.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Like
that's why when his brother had his face on, that face explodes. In part 4, when the bites the dust happened, the face cracked that way as well. Like every single time they had these fake out deaths for Jotaro, or any other way like that, it's always that same way.
Yeah. So so back, no spoilers. We're done with spoilers. So with that in mind, are we supposed to assume that fate is like predetermined, or can fate just be changed in a whim? Like that, I don't know. For me, when you start thinking about ideas of fate, there's so many different ways to interpret fate that it just becomes so impossible to parse for me that I don't like fate as a theme.
Yeah.
Because fate as a theme, like it's either okay, everything's predetermined, or it's like, oh no, you can change your fate. Then is it fate?
You have enough resolve, you can shoot. Or you can be a Mista, and since you're not fated to die, you can get shot up by your own bullet 40 times, and that's it, you're not your fate to die.
I know I've been ranting, but if I were to like change the idea, instead of saying fate as like an esoteric, like supernatural concept, I would say the better theme of part 5 is resolve to change your position in life.
Yeah.
Where like every character is able to.
I think we talked about this before. I think I always said resolve was always like the theme for me for this.
And that's something that even Oceans points out, is like resolve is like the means at which characters fight, like challenge fate. But if you think about like all the characters, like they're all put in horrible positions, but through either their resolve or the resolve of others, like when Bruno goes to Mista and gets Mista out of prison, when Bruno goes to Abakio, Giorno speaking to Bruno and like telling Bruno like, hey, drugs are bad. I know you feel the same way. Let's kill the boss. I think that the idea of like having resolve to change your life is a better. It's for me personally, it's a theme that's a little less muddied than fate. Fate. That's just me with like having fatigue of seeing the word fate used a million times in media.
Fate's Day Night.
No. Saber.
So, yes. Face say Saber.
All right, this has turned into our Fate podcast.
I already had one of those.
We talk about how Saber is the best girl.
She's the only one I know.
She's like in every one I get. I don't know. Okay, this is a bad joke. Let's talk about the good things you like about Sleeping Slaves.
All right, that's the good thing about Sleeping Slaves.
No, the part where Diavolo dies.
No, the part where Fugo falls out of his car. That's the best part.
Oh, that was really fucking funny.
That's the best part. I can watch that image anytime.
And so, okay, I know. Like another gripe that I have with Sleeping Slaves is that it feels like weird to have these characters that are dead that are just hanging out again. Like, to me, like, I can see how people would love that, but to me, it feels like sad. Like, it just makes me sad.
It could have been like an episode 0 thing where you kind of show everything, and it ends with like seeing the rock, but he doesn't see the face of what's on it. And then at the end, it can kind of show where you see like the other 3, or the first time it shows it fall, you see his face, and then it goes away, and then you kind of black out you don't see the other 2 on there, and then at the end you kind of flash it back to it, and you see them.
Yeah, the other issue that I have with it that is the placement. I think the placement is just awkward.
It's been awkward in the manga. It's awkward in the anime.
Yeah, so I totally, after watching that video, I can totally understand why people like this arc. For me, it fills me with such weird emotions that I wouldn't say I miss it too much if it wasn't there. So
yeah, that's enough ranting about Sleeping Slaves then.
No, actually,
yeah,
I got a few more things to say.
We got an hour worth more.
Yeah, if you guys want to stick in for like another hour and a half, I can find more things I hate about Sleeping Slaves. I know it's been a long one.
Yeah.
All right. So, is there anything else?
Other than the weird theory that I think the only reason Trish survived the whole Requiem thing was because she was in Mista's body, because his body can take so much damage.
Yeah.
That's my only thing I wanted to add. But
he's used to just being completely destroyed constantly by
his own bullets for the most part. But
yeah.
So anything else you want to add? Are you good?
No.
Part 6 when?
Never. Nope. Well, so funnily enough, one of the David production guys posted on Twitter. He's like, guys, if you don't buy the DVDs, Part 6 isn't gonna happen.
Well, buy the figures. Not gonna buy a DVD.
You need to buy the DVDs, Sam, or Part 6 isn't gonna happen.
I wouldn't entirely be against.
Oh, shut the fuck up! You know you love Part 6.
I like a lot of Part 6.
Part 6 is very good.
Has very high highs and very low lows.
Yeah, Part 6 does just have pretty low lows. That's the issue.
and for Jim, he has one very special one. It's only him he likes.
Tune in next time in Part 6 in parts.
Or Part 6 in slices, or Part 6 in sections.
Sections.
Gotta.
It's not like, whatever.
Slices is a very nice
Part
word.
6 in sections.
Slices.
Because Part 5 in parts wasn't an alliteration with Part 5. It only the P.
Yeah.
So.
Or Part 5 in pieces.
How about Section 7 in slices?
Section 7. My favorite.
We'll be the only people to refer to Part 7 as, or Part 6 as parts. Whatever. I'm confusing myself.
Part 7 in section.
I'm confusing myself already.
Part 8 in ounces.
In bites. Part 8 in ounces.
I don't know.
It doesn't begin.
I don't know. I know. It's about.
How about this?
Because it's about.
How about this, Sam? Part 8 in eighths, and we only do 8 episodes.
Well, there's one that really. It was like. No, it was something else we were going to talk about in arcs.
Part Chark and arc.
It was another show where I don't know. Forget it. I can't remember.
I don't know.
We've been doing this for so long.
Fascinating podcasting.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add to this?
No, we need to end this right now.
All right. Thank you very much for listening. Please put your comments, or your feelings of anything you agreed that was better, worse, or just as good or just as bad as you think it is. Give us your honest thoughts of the part.
Yeah. Let's say, how about... well, I guess you comment as much as you want, but if you wanted, this will be a comment question of the week. What arc or part of whatever Part 5 do you think was and then say it was either like better done or worse done or blah blah blah.
Yeah, your favorite arc done in the anime, your least favorite done in the anime, and maybe your biggest surprise or your biggest disappointment.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Like,
answer any of those,
yes.
and I'll eat them all up.
Yes, Jim would love to see those. And then, please check out any of these other past episodes of Part 5 discussions. So we have in every arc, if you want to hear our more focused opinions on them.
Yeah, if you're unaware of us until now, we have an entire podcast series where we go through every arc of Part 5 by parts. I can't even, I'm so fucking, my brain is like done.
Yes.
At this time.
There's also some other episodes. We have our Part 8 discussion. The
real bread and butter.
Yes, and we have some other stuff like Hunter x Hunter discussions and even random animes like Shield Hero.
Yeah, check it out. Just go through our things. I've made playlists for everything.
Yes, I think that's everything for the most part.
Follow us on Twitter.
Yes.
We are at Jokakaka Podcast.
Yes.
And then follow us individually at Twitter. You can find on that page.
Yeah, you can go on who that page follows to find us.
You can go on that page's description.
Okay,
and we're both listed.
All right, yes.
So if you want to see my stupid hot takes about, I don't know.
Nothing?
Literally nothing.
If you want some
I don't tweet.
fan art and memes, that's for me.
Yeah, I don't ever fucking post. I just like.
People still see stuff you like, so.
Damn, I always forget about that, and it's scary because I like a lot of weird stuff.
Oh no.
They're gonna see all my weird likes, like Jojo, but with funny poses.
Maybe they'll see I actually like Part 3. And then Jim's most afraid of the people that he'll actually like Part 3, and I like Part 3.
Part 3's okay.
Hot take.
It's fine.
I think we've seen.
Actually, that's not that much of a hot take. I think a lot of people don't really like Part 3 that much.
Yeah, that's what we need to do with Part 3 Spoilercast. I'm really curious to see going back through reading what your opinion is.
Same. I know I'll like it better. It's like when I read through Part 1, like I ended up liking Part 1 a lot more than I thought I would have.
Yeah.
After just only having seen the anime.
All right. At 2 hours, I think we're done, right?
No.
Yes. Oh, I'm Sam.
What are your predictions for?
I'm gonna kill you.
All right.
And that's Jim.
I'm in Jim. Bye.